Happy set launch everyone, I hope the first few games have been going quite well for you and you have managed to teach Riot AI some lessons. Over here on the EU side we have had a single pro coming out of the gates extremely hot, putting up at the time of me recording a 2.2 AVP over his first 20ish games and comfortably sitting in the rank 1 spot, about almost 100 LP ahead of the second place, that being Kojnid right here. And when looking through his match history I saw lots of the usual AP flex around Malphite, some Aphelios and Kayle reroll, but one game stood out where I was a bit puzzled, therefore let's see how he managed to approach it. Immediately here playing around what appears to be a quite possibility for a solar opener, but we do not really see a bow and you absolutely need that rage blade for the Kayle. Nonetheless are going to be holding on to that possibility here, and our items are more leaning. This would be a Spirit Visage since Hand of Justice is just such a bad slam to transition. Chosen of the Sun would ideally slot into this Kayle reroll. Has been argued to be a little bit on the weaker side, but it's still a decent combat option if you have the spot to be playing for, but we do not have exactly the components. This comp also wants the Stone Plate for that Ornn to get you printing those artifacts, and we do not have that. Investment strategy: if you have the reroll pieces you're looking for, maybe you start out with the Master Yi Orb, this could be quite decent as well of an option. But since it doesn't really have that interest, it used to be stronger at least in set 16, that is my how I remember. It's still a decent reroll option if you have, and we also see someone with a Sejuani too on their board, worth a weight check there. And yeah, someone is, Chosen of the Sun for some weird reason can be offered to multiple players, so we just cannot take it. Hustler for tempo options, still a weak gold augment in my opinion. There are some ideas still to be playing into reroll. Portable Forge, amazing for giving you some direction. Lots of artifact synergies in the game at the moment. Lots of different units that can utilize artifacts. So you can just rip it, look it up, and see what you can. But we like direction, so we're going to be picking a Blackline Blueprint, and we get Ravager Emblem. And that is a bit of a puzzling one in my opinion. We have the possibility of already playing around 2 Ravagers. I mean, it's a good emblem if you are playing like the Kha'Zix and the Rengar combo, and they're going to be going with the controversial slam of the Hand of Justice. Reason why: there's only one unit that can truly utilize it, and it is that Kha'Zix, because no other well, okay, Diana, let's say Diana, and you can play around Akali as well with it. It's theoretically, from a PB stats, we had a Akali utilize this item quite well as well with JG comp, but we're not going for Akali. We might be going for that Kha'Zix potentially, but we would need to get some Kha'Zix early on right here, and we got Diana, right? And I do not think Diana as a solo carry can really do too much if we wanted to be playing around it. So let's see how we're going to be managing to pivot this line. We obviously want to be seeing if we can potentially tempo here, but we opted obviously to make the econ intervals because, well, our board does not really have the tempo plan right here. Reason why I want to tempo is because we are at an item advantage with this Ravager emblem, and now we pick up that Kha'Zix. Now we are going to improve our boot by filling this Kog'Maw right here, get some Shred and Sunder going. It's going to be a rough start nonetheless, even though we have picked up a 3-3 cost right here. We are queuing, for example, here in this level 5 board with upgrades and 2 trees onto the field. That's already 7 units that we have to be facing. We just simply do not meet the DPS check in my opinion. Though this Diana is putting in quite a bit of work. The Kha'Zix has made it to the backline. He's starting to chip out, but the Kha'Zix classic leaves everything at 1 HP. And we hover the belt in case we wanted to commit the slam and to swing the round, but it's not going to be doing so. With an open belt, we can definitely be angling, potentially picking up this Diana from the carousel, because Warmogs is such a strong tank item. You're always happy to be slamming that Warmogs. It gives us the potential to be playing around the Diana pair, maybe hitting Diana too. Maybe she can definitely put in some work. I mean, pick up a Kha'Zix pair as well. This is a essentially this is a strategy you can. I mean, it had a prime premium component. It was a 3 cost, but we also, I think if it was a 2 cost, we could have went for it because we're playing for our outs. We're playing for potential. Our board has a potential to spike with this Diana too now. We have a potential to have a strong mid game. We have mapped out a, well, he had put in 6 Ravager there, but we slotted 2 out, and I don't know if that's, I mean, it's a decent board. It plays here around this Morgana as well, which naturally fits into the Vanguard package around this Diana, the Ravager emblem, then tying to the Sentinel. And you can obviously keep the Kog'Maw around. Here, our opportunity cost that we paid has, well, we didn't really pay anything, but it has come to life. We have managed to hit this Diana too. We won that fight, so we're going to be leveling up here, trying to end on a 2 streak, make our gold back. Even the worst case, we are going to be at 20 gold, which is completely fine for ourselves. And he's mapping out the board. I think we do not really want to be rerolling this around the Kazakhs. The Kazakhs, we can utilize it as a potential link, and it nicely fits around these lunar units, right? We have this Aphelios right here, which can be another potential carry, but we would not really have the items for him. And particularly with this Hodge Slam, I suppose we can just slot it onto the Brambleback. I assume we're going to pick the Ravager Evolution here, would be my guess, because that's the one that's going to fit in the nicest. And then we can nicely make this breakpoint. And yeah, we're going to sell the Kog'Maw, so it doesn't look like we're going to be going it. Since our plan is to be playing around the Morgana, we are going to be committing this Morelos right away. Morelos, simply Morgana's best item. She's an ideal applier of it, and also like Void Staff. Void Staff and Morelos, she's amazing. There's a reason why when you're running even Kog'Maw, you're completely fine slotting the Void Staff on your board if your item economy allows it, because Morgana is going to be hitting the backlines. And she's also going to tie in nicely here. We are going to be playing around that AP damage. Kazakhs obviously having the AP damage. And well, Brambleback is going to be our AD compartment, but we'll see if we're ever able to make it to a Loon. Maybe Male Loon can be the finishing touch to this board, and as a Kazakhs Evolution string it together. We have managed to nicely rebound our board around this Diana too, but we are lacking in a bit of a quality of units because we have two 1-star Kazakhs running around. Evelyn here has that Warmogs, which is making up for her still being 1-star, but we're going to be running into some troubles in my opinion unless we 2-star her in this stage 3. Bonus gift can be utilized the potential for us to fast 8 of this, get the Econ lead. Econ is obviously very strong because of the charms you're going to be investing. Jeweled Lotus though could give us immediate use of this Hand of Justice that we have right now, and I didn't see that we're going to be slotting Executioner, so if we somehow manage to move around with this Kazakhs, then also that can be utilized. Verticality is extremely strong in your vertical lines, but I believe that we probably want to be looking for some kind of an econ option right now, or either items. Item augments are also extremely strong into the game right now. We're going to be bonus gift right away. He doesn't value it as a strong econ augment, but we get offered explosive growth, which is prime when you're playing fast 8, and on 4-2 this thing is busted if you're in spot to be going for fast 9. Extremely strong. But flips up immediately. Still an interesting choice to be keeping onto those combat options right there. Money hungry though could be utilized to make our gold intervals right away, but he's going to be defaulting this Jeweled Lotus right here, which is an interesting take. Going to be playing for the strongest board right here with the 6 Ravager picked up. Going to truly want to capitalize onto this Diana and get this synergy out of this Hand of Justice. Perhaps this is the best way to actually link your items up together, because if you're going to be playing around this Brambleback, then assuming he's going to be carrying our Hand of Justice, that's going to give us some synergy right there. And this is already panned out an interesting game. Aggressive, we have been quite aggressive at our levels, only making 30 at level 6. Now this bright side is we are pumped 12 gold extra, but still we could see how much he's valuing this early tempo from and even though our board is truly carrying one unit, but the 6 Ravager, maybe we have enough sustain on our board, we're just lacking some form of a damage. And maybe he's thinking of ending up in 6 Ravager somehow, but the unit quality might be a little tricky here. Something in a Zir potentially to get the Blackthorn activated, maybe play around Malphite as a potential frontline option as well, because Sentinel is just extremely contested, especially now that Aphelios has been moved up on TFT Academy's S tier. Everyone's just playing around that. Aphelios, the disease never stops in TFT. Every time there's a top comp, people are just going to be hard forcing from terrible spots. We are going to be picking up a glove here. Also a Zir which was playing around, and naturally just fits with together what we have right now. Could be immediately going for that QSSS Slam, which is one of the best Brambleback items as well. And that's going to be our game plan right now. Just fully investing into the streak, aggressively leveling to 7. How do we gonna make it? I mean, are we reading that our units are just going to be completely uncontested in this lobby? Because if you're only making 20 gold here, obviously if we go on the 6th streak, this is going to pay off, and it seems it has. We have managed to take out the Kale. The Kale reroll is extremely fragile on 2 stars. Fully balanced around you getting multiple of those 3 stars, and the trait obviously scaling of the 3 stars. So that is your weak point of the game, and we're able to nicely complete the 6th streak. And it's definitely going to be paying off if we are able to pick up and win. But we have this Elderwood player who has also been naturally out of units, but thankfully we queue into a Caitlyn 3. So let's see how we fare. It's a 3-item Caitlyn, has a decent amount of frontline, also has that temporary Warmogs right there, which is probably the best charm he might have picked up. And unfortunately we're going to be losing our streak, so now, and they also had a charm, so we are going to be in a little bit of a tough spot. This player has magically managed to capitalize on the advanced loan they picked up. Now, maybe they get punished if the last augment is prismatic. That is the one way the advanced loan when it's going to start to suffer, but he has nicely managed to capitalize on the tempo. Nonetheless, our spot, we are quite healthy. We might be still in the spot possibility to be going for slow level 8, and we get dropped a spatula. With a couple of reforgers, we have some possibilities of playing around with it. So let's see what he decides to do. Going to be picking up another leveling up charm, making that Edge of Night, and leaving our chain open if we are playing around Sentinel. Obviously, he loves having that Protector's Vow as his item, and we definitely would be wanting to have a little bit more tank items if we only have that Warmogs right now. So we are again fiddling with the plan. We do not really have Aphelios items, but we are not that far, I believe, from another evolution, and Kha'Zix absolutely loves that Edge of Night. He can be holding on to that. Then we maybe slotted an Executioner, still planning around this game plan of Kha'Zix linking the board together. That's why we have this Azir. It's an interesting take. Invested though, we are not in a spot to be playing for Fast 9, and it generally gives you enough gold to do so, but we just picked up a loss there, 73 gold, and our board is centered around these 4 costs, so we have no true reason of going Fast 9. Soul Awakening, generally a strong combat option, but you have to be wary now with units that have continuous spells, such as for example the Pebble Stream. This thing doesn't really work. Same goes for Cassio Dots, and I assume it might have some little trickery with the Morgana spell as well. Otherwise, it's a fine combat option if you're in the spot to be taking it. Verticality we talked about, very strong for those vertical lines, and we have it actually potential to be playing around it. Tons of stats, another strong combat option. You just compare the values from the gold augment, it's doubled. And the gold to prismatic augment scaling is not exactly ×2, therefore this is quite strong. Belt Overflow could solve us some of the frontline problems, but then it would just be a big meat shield with just HP, and generally you want to mix the stats, right? You want some DR, you want some resistances, and we would be having to slam a Sunfire, which we have the Morello, so we're not too excited about. Unless we could utilize it for a spat, I do not really see this big clicking this augment. Ever since it's been moved to 4 belts, it hasn't been the strongest one. He's playing around the idea of verticality. This could give us some more raw damage stats onto our board, and that's kind of what we're lacking right now. We have lots of these. We have the CC, we have the anti-heal, we have some survivability through the Hodge. We're lacking in the compartment of just raw AD and AP, and that is going to be provided through this. And we immediately find this Morgana and are going to be making this Vanguard emblem right there. And that definitely allows us to be playing around with this, having the 6 Ravager and some Vanguard board. It's starting to resemble a little bit more of that Morgana Invoker type of board, but more playing around this idea of having these Ravagers and Vanguards, and that's an amazing natural shop to be picking up for ourselves. Another Morgana, another Brambleback, so perhaps we truly have read that this lobby is not really playing around with it. Pick up also a component anvil right there, there goes an anvil, but it's an interesting board that we have managed to strung together. Unfortunately, our econ situation is still a little bit weaker, but it could play to our benefit if, in the case that we had this early HP lead, in case other players are playing around other forecasts, we should have a little bit of improved odds at hitting our own ones. And maybe by some off chance we're able to snipe a Taric here off from the carousel. There is a Taric, there is a Rod. Rod is amazing for this Morgana if we wanted to, but obviously that's going to get snatched right away. And there is a Brambleback out of the lobby, so we have to be wary of that. Picking up another sword instead. Interesting what that might turn into. I mean, Brambleback is going to love some kind of sword item. That could be completely fine. I wouldn't be too excited about slamming Edge of Night onto the Brambleback, particularly since we have one, but he's going to be committing to the tempo. He's going to be slamming. It's not a bad item per se, but simply he's going to be having that QSSS. He's probably going to have that Hand of Justice. There's lots. He would just probably want a little bit more AD into him with his sword, but we're not going to be wasting around our time here. Unfortunately, we take a loss to this Kale reroll player here because we are just going the slowest level 8 in the Western Hemisphere right here. Now just leveling because we are in interval. Immediately able to find a Morgana too, which is quite nice. Upgrade that Kha'Zix, and we managed to high roll that Taric right there, which now fits our board quite nicely. Still playing around this Kha'Zix though, and now we pick up the Brambleback too. Going to be transitioning the items, and Kha'Zix might end up being our duo carry. Interesting wrap here by the Brambleback here. Is he going to make it? Yes, he's going to be immediately making to that backline. I don't think he was his plan, but it worked out completely perfectly, clearing up the Ahri player. absolutely picking up a win right here, and our board should be semi-stable right now. I mean, our front line is lacking, right? That is a true compartment, but we have to check if Sentinel is super contested right now. Because just around, we're going to have around 30 gold right here to be working with, and sending that down for Sentinel 2 in a very contested meta is going to be tough. Now he's going to opt to roll once to see the charm. We have an open road that maybe, well, yeah, they're going to keep an open road, the completed frontline item right there, just another Warmog, that's completely fine. We have linked with our Morgana, which also is an interesting take instead of this Kha'Zix, which might be actually taking the damage, but or Brambleback, just wanting to keep the Morg safe, and she's going to be, well, pretty much she's having Justice Morello holding right here, but you can see how amount of insane amounts of damage she's still able to dish out also with having that Ravager emblem. And the Vanguard emblem, interesting build into this Morgana, but you can see the true power into this unit that is hiding behind her. Is now blinking everything, yeah, but it's just with the 6 Ravager we're running a couple of weaker units, so maybe we're looking if we're ever able to make it to that level 9 to drop down maybe to 4 Ravager, but then we're sacrificing this verticality value in some sense. I don't know. We have to see how we're going to be managing this, because we want to get to this Taric 2, but our frontline still seems to be holding long enough with this Taric 1, and we haven't opted to roll for the Sentinel 2. The lobby should definitely be heavily spiking right now, but it seems that there's quite a few reroller players, so they're naturally going to be capping a little bit lower. Now we queue into the player who's playing more around the standard Invoker variation, so let's see how we fare against our twin. They have opted to go for an interesting build on this Morgana. They have managed to take out our frontline quite fast. The Brambleback gets to work. Our Brambleback, though, is surviving through all of this with this nice crit synergy that we have through Jewel Dolores and the QSSS and the Hand of Justice, plus the 6 Ravager healing just kicking in, even with Edge of Night onto the bench. We were able to pick up a crucial win right here, and now we should definitely be in the spot to be able to make it to that level 9, looking for potentially last tank item right here. No, going with another Hand of Justice instead. Not even opting to go for it. That is an interesting take and another interesting direction. And now he's opting to roll just slightly for I suppose just a charm and stopping, but I don't think we're going to be keeping these items on the bench. I mean, we have one remover. We're going to be getting another one. Just slot them onto the Kha'Zix for now. Yeah, that's going to be fine. This seems to be some Ezreal Executioner flex. I don't think this player is going to be in the prime spot. They have that Baron's Lair right there, but they're going to be taking us out. The Ezreal they have that Executioner emblem, which it has made a difference for them. 5 Executioner, so they have that 2 damage compartment. Our frontline is unfortunately still struggling a little bit too much, but they are also stuck on level 8, so if you're able to make it to that level now, we should be able to put up a fair fight against them. We see that there is that Ahri player as well, who has managed to duo carry a Zyra, and now we queue into the Caitlyn player who previously ruined our streak. We are starting onto their Sejuani, so unfortunately this Brambleback is going to be taking quite a while to actually get through it. Our Morgana gets sniped, and the Kha'Zix is just leaping around, being a little bit useless still. And we are going to be dropping down to a single life, not with particularly too much gold to be working with if we do make it to that level 9. Still holding onto these valuable pairs, so we just have to hope that Mordog is with us and we're going to be able to hit those upgrades. Otherwise we might just end up spilling Doom here and going 5th instead. Leveling here, picking up at whatever charm we can, so just we can see more slots. Unfortunately do not hit pick up that. Now we hit, no, but are we going to be giving up? We're going to be giving up onto the Taric pair and just going to be improving our itemization onto this Morgana with the dead cap open road. Yeah, just toss it on the Kog'Maw, doesn't matter. We are on the weaker side of this Ahri player, and we're going to be able to clean up. It's a ghost fight, so they're playing around that forcing Kog'Maw, which is still incredibly strong. But thankfully we are able to get there, but this doesn't save us. That does save us from getting into the top 4. A crucial when Cubixon going down in that 5th place right there. And still it seems that we are pretty much hoping to focus fire our damage as much as we can to the single side. because we just believe that we have a single tank, but even with only 2 items. Still keeping that link onto the Morgana, which is an interesting take. We are going to be, but this makes, yeah, it makes it very easy to position against ourselves, though this Brambleback has that stacking, has the possibility to be drain tanking a lot, and now we're able to get our revenge onto the Ezreal player. That should be securing us a top 3 in my opinion. No, the player lives in a single life. So this lobby has come down pretty much to the wire. We just have to be looking for a potential combat option, but not a lot of gold to be working with to fish for these charms. And just spreading out, maybe trying to bait. Now we have this, oh yeah, we have the combat charms, so just getting maximum value onto the whole team. And again, they positioned their tank right in front of our Brambleback, so he's going to need the time to ramp up. But the Morgana is starting to work on the backline, even though it's unvisual. The Kha'Zix does something, takes out the Harry right away, and we're able to clean up this player. And that is going to be now finally securing ourselves a top 3. The Kha'Zix has proved himself that at times he can actually be very useful, even still at a 2-star. Nicely strung board together here. The paper does not look that strong, but truly capitalizing, nicely itemizing this Brambleback right here and the Morgana mid, seeing how the best you can make the best use out of her. Just slam Morello on her. And now focus fire the single side to maybe get the Brambleback resets and make him live. And again, we're queuing into the same side against the same the Ezreal player, but their frontline is simply not durable enough, still playing around that worth away to Rek'Sai, so that is going to be a pickup to win for ourselves. And now we are just in a final matchup against this Caitlyn player who has managed to make it to that level 8 with no scout, no pivot, scaling into the 6-6, and they have the potential to just simply move this Sejuani, who has that Bramble Vest, right in front of our Brambleback. And they didn't do so, so we're starting on the weak side. This is pretty much as good as we're going to be getting. So let's see if we're able to get some early resets, but unfortunately the Morgana is not going to be chipping at his Caitlyn. That's going to be scaling. The Kha'Zix is in the backline, does not kill the Sivir exactly in time, but unfortunately they have a little too much scaling on their side, and we're going to be ending up on the second. A nicely played game here by Kojnid, truly displaying his understanding of the set and ability to link together units from an opener that seemingly didn't strike the first impressions of leading all the way to 6 Ravager, 4 Vanguard with verticality. Truly displaying how well he understands the synergy between items and the units in this set, how to properly play for tempo, when to fish for these combat charms, and capping out the board here on level 9, only losing to that very strong Caitlyn player. Amazing climb from him thus far, and if he's able to be so adaptive already on the first day of the live release, he's definitely bound for great things this set, and best of luck to him. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.